My name is Herman Fixe. I'm running the day-to-day fundraising and communication stuff for Adopt Rainforest from the Netherlands. Uh, and also uh, this webinar, the first of many, we hope. The reason we introduced this webinar is because, we do have newsletters, we do have information on our website. We do have socials where we share videos and photos, but some people just want a little bit more inside information. Um, and this is the place to be. So this will be a session where we can take a deep dive into the things we do as a foundation, especially getting to know the people working in Costa Rica, working in the rainforest with the local communities, with the animals. So yeah. Um, there's one change for tonight. Unfortunately, Matthijs, due to personal reasons, could not join, but thankfully, Nico knows everything Matthijs knows, so that will be fine. You can put your questions in the chat if you like, um, uh, but we will wait for the Q&A till after Nico's presentation. It will be about 10 minutes. So after the presentations, there will be enough time to get your questions answered. Even in het Nederlands voor de mensen die dat fijner vinden. We wachten even met de vragen beantwoorden tot na de presentatie. Ongeveer 10 minuten. Oké, Nico, the floor is yours. I'll share the presentation. If the internet does have a problem, it's due to Costa Rica and the rainforest and not the rest.
Yeah, thank you so much, Herman, for getting us started here. And yeah, for setting up the presentation. I also wanted to add there are 2 cats roaming around here, so I will do my best to keep the cats from sitting on my laptop and interrupting the meeting. No promises, but just giving you that heads up. So yeah, as Herman said, and again, just want to reiterate, thank you all for taking the time to participate in what is our very first Q&A session here. And, we are hoping that these Q&A sessions can serve as a platform for us to share some cool updates and insider information on the work that we are doing here in Costa Rica, as well as a way for you to get to ask any questions or provide any feedback regarding our current or upcoming activities. So with that, we can move into our next slide, please. So for those of you who I have not had the pleasure of meeting yet, my name is Nico, and I am the project coordinator here at the Work with Nature Foundation. My roles and responsibilities include the management of our contracts, reporting, procurement, hiring, as well as the management of our local teams for our various program activities, as well as financial management. And as Herman mentioned, unfortunately, our colleague Matthijs won't be able to join the session, but he is our research coordinator. And he works directly with our student volunteers, helping them with their research projects, giving them guidance on their assignments, managing the outings to the field, and also assists Martin and Hanneke with the research components of the project. So before we begin, I just wanted to quickly share again with everyone the 4 pillars of the foundation, which are protecting the rainforests, reforestation, biodiversity research, and local impact. So with our rangers, camera traps, and frequent visits to the reserve, we are actively preventing illegal logging and hunting within our 300-hectare reserve that we manage. Our reforestation efforts, those directly contribute to meeting carbon capture and sequestration targets, as well as providing important habitats for critically endangered species, such as the great green macaws. Through our transects, we continue to identify new species of animals and plants each week, which help us gain better understanding of what exactly it is we are trying to protect, and also contributing to greater knowledge in the region. And finally, we have local impact, where we hope to provide hands-on environmental education for kids in local schools, as well as provide job opportunities for people in the local and indigenous communities. Slide, please. So for today's presentation, I will be focusing primarily on the fourth pillar, which is local impact. So as a foundation, we have mainly focused on conservation and reforestation within our private reserve, but something that we have been working on developing more is local partners and networks in order to collaborate more regionally on common goals of environmental conservation. So throughout some of our recent efforts and attendance of meetings and events, Martin and I have recently been included on the management board of a new biological corridor called Madre de Dios, which is going to bridge the gap between the Barbilla corridor up in the north and the Rana Limor corridor down in the south. And so this picture is from one of the meetings which unites people from the different biological corridors, as well as members of CNAC, in order to have a best management practice meeting and kind of share knowledge and experiences in the different corridors. So on a slightly more local level, we have also partnered with local municipalities, such as the municipality of Matina. So they invited us to participate in an event, which was the Pacuare River Cleanup event. So this activity united various local NGOs, as well as representatives from the conservation branch of the government, the environmental and energy branches of the government, as well as the rural development branches. So there are actors, all sorts of local and regional actors who participated. And in this instance, we also took some of our student volunteers to help and participate in the river cleaning. So something that we're very proud of, and that is one of our greatest achievements for local community impact, is the organization of the annual Dia del Árbol, or Tree Day. So for the last 5 or so years, the Work with Nature Foundation has organized this annual Dia del Árbol in order to provide hands-on environmental education for the school kids in San Miguel. And this is a 3-day event where they get to learn more about the different animals and plants in their environment, as well as about sustainability, ecosystems, all while having fun. For the older kids, we also organize an outing for them to go out into the reserve itself and get to see advanced secondary forests as well as primary forests, and give them a point of reference of, what it is that we are trying to achieve. This year, we have had over 100 kids participate across all 3 days, which is a great achievement for us. So while our Dia del Árbol annual activities focus mainly on kids and the schools, this year we decided to do things a little bit differently and extend the environmental education activities to the rest of the community as well. And so the way we decided to engage with them was through the organization of a community bingo, an environmental bingo night. So here in Costa Rica, especially in rural communities, bingo is quite popular, and it's a great way to gather people together in order to share a little bit of information with them. And so we presented them with bingo nights as an opportunity for them to get to know us better as a foundation and explain to them a little bit more about what it is that we do and some of the activities that we have planned. At the same time, we replaced traditional bingo cards with animal bingo cards, where they were able to then learn about the different plants and animals that can be found in the reserve. And we had people answer quiz questions in order to win various prizes. At the end, I got some feedback from the attendees, and many of them stated that they had a very good time, that they learned new things about what it was that we do, and also learned new animal facts. So all in all, it's quite successful. Another aspect of what we are trying to do through our social programs is develop greater partnerships with the various indigenous communities of the area. This year, we were invited and had the privilege to attend the Chumiko community's celebrations of Indigenous Peoples Day. So there were people from the Nairia Wari community, the Bajo Chiripo community, the Alto Chiripo community, as well as the Bribri communities who all attended. And it was it was a very beautiful event where they were all able to share a little bit of singing, dancing, poetry, as well as a market where they provided craft goods as well as foods. And it was a great way to learn a little bit more about the different cultures in the region. All right. With our volunteers that we receive pretty much all year round, we also try to organize weekly activities and weekly community engagement activities. So one such activity is our sustainability, where we all pack into our project vehicle and essentially go through the community picking up trash in order to keep the streets clean. In addition to this, we also organize a football activity every Friday as a way to unite the people from the foundation with those in the community of San Miguel through sports. So now we're going to go ahead and move into some of our upcoming plans. So one that we are very excited about is our participation in the Costa Rican National Amphibian and Reptile Count. This is the third iteration, but it will be the first time that we offer a route within our reserve. And we already have over 30 participants from the local community. And we hope to continue to increase the inclusion of locals in citizen science events in the future as well. Finally, we are in the process of designing and developing a potential tree nursery project. Within the entire district of Matina, there is not a single tree nursery, which means that all of the trees that we need for reforestation are outsourced from elsewhere. And so we are hoping to develop this project with the Punta de Lanza indigenous community in order to make them stewards of a small business enterprise and to create more jobs in the community, as well as a way for us to secure more trees for our future projects. We have submitted a couple proposals to get funding for this and are waiting to see if we can get the funding to kick this off in the upcoming year or so. And yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Nico. Um, if there's any questions, you can either put them in the chat or you can unmute yourself and just ask a question. To start off, I was wondering, Nico, you are a Costa Rican yourself, and focusing on the local impacts within the community. How do you think the current programs we have affect the people, especially in San Miguel?
I think that the best example I can give is that of del Árbol, so Tree Day. So it has not only become a staple of the community, it has become something that the kids look forward to each year. And as they get older, they get to, do different activities. And so each year, we hear often the kids saying, "When are you going to have the next activity? When are we going to get to go to the reserve again?" And we get that sense of excitement, of motivation, and of willingness to learn from the kids already at pretty early ages. So we see this, with the younger kids, 5, 6 years old, all the way up to the older kids who are now already 12. And so it's something that's very nice to see is, that level of engagement, because for me personally, I think that, one of the greatest ways that we can impact the future and future generations and environmental conservation is through education, by having people learn more about why protecting the environment matters and the value that there is in simply having nature be there. I think is something that's very valuable that we can contribute to the local community, and it's very well received.
That sounds good. And you think people in San Miguel or the children, do you think they will be working for the foundation when they get older? Like, is it seen as a way to earn a living, for example?
That would be the dream, of course. We would love to be able to, offer lot of more opportunities within the community. One example of that we have is one of our volunteers. She is 19 years old, and she's from the San Miguel community, and she went through these Dia del Árbol activities when she was younger, and now she has become a part-time volunteer with us here at the foundation. Unfortunately, we don't have the resources to, offer a full-time employment to her, but she's shown great interest in, coming in volunteering with us, pretty much on a weekly basis and showing that level of engagement. Ideally, again, this is my perspective, maybe as a Costa Rican, but I would love to see a lot more engagement and participation of Costa Ricans in our activities here. We do value greatly all of the volunteers that we receive from the Netherlands, and I think it's wonderful for the people in the Netherlands to get this opportunity to learn and develop and explore the culture here. But I also think it would be beautiful to have this cultural mix and to have lots of students and volunteers within here in Costa Rica to be able to participate in the conservation projects that we have in the foundation.
And Nico, can you remind us how many people do we now employ from the local community, and how does that fluctuate with, let's say, when we have the tree planting projects, where I think we also try to get support and basically have a lot of the local community help with that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So I believe that we currently employ, I think it's 8 full-time employees here locally in the field. These positions include our rangers, our guides. They include some of our like maintenance staff, our night guards, and yeah, so we have 8 full-time positions here. And other than those full-time positions, we also hire contractors or contract workers to help us with our reforestation projects, to help us with maintenance projects in the field. And for those jobs, we try to source those as much as possible within the indigenous communities. Not only within the indigenous communities, but also trying to focus on hiring indigenous women as well, to try to be a little bit more gender inclusive. Um, so it's definitely something that we are branching out and trying to do more of. So, I think that with time we'll get more engagement as well.
Good, thanks, Nico.
So thank you, Nico, for this presentation. Very interesting, very nice. Can you sort of explain, because you mentioned CNAC, what is that kind of an organization and why is it involved in reforestation, for instance?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. And again, I'm sorry, I realize that, these are things that maybe I am used to managing here a lot, like these organizations. I should have better explained. So CNAC is the National System for Conservation Areas. Think of it as like the branch of the Costa Rican government that is responsible for protecting its forested and ecosystems. Um, so CNEC are kind of the government's authority that manage and run all of these different protected areas. In terms of like the way that we interact with them or their role kind of in our day-to-day operations is for a lot of things that we want to do, a lot of research permits. There are things that we need to get prior approval for, and so we need to work directly with CNEC in order to gain those approvals. They have also been very helpful to us in kind of helping point us to different resources. So if we are in need of local experts in various subject matters, whether it's experts in lemur frogs, experts in studying bats, they have a lot of connections that they have been able to provide us. And in return, we collaborate a lot with them on their initiatives and on their programs. And so we do our best to, kind of balance the relationship with them where, we give and take and kind of, help each other out in achieving a lot of these conservation programs. I think you asked specifically about reforestation. So for reforestation, CNAC, they have a tree nursery actually. They have their own tree nursery program. So every so often they will donate trees to us. Another big thing that CNAC and the Ministry of Environment and Energy are responsible for is here in Costa Rica, there is a law that whenever any kind of urban development project requires the cutting of trees, one example that I can give is right now they're currently expanding the construction of Highway 32, which pretty much extends the whole Caribbean coast. They cut down some, I believe it was 5,000 trees or so in order to make way for that construction. And the law states that for any time that there are trees that need to be cut, twice as many trees need to be planted. So essentially, the MINAE and CNEC, which are the two organizations responsible for implementing and carrying out that law, they had 10,000 trees that they needed to plant. And they didn't have a designated area where they were going to plant those trees. So we were able to step in and tell them that, look, basically we have 7 hectares available of land that we would like to reforest. So we managed to work out a contract with them and with another local implementing partner called CCT, which is the Center for Tropical Studies, essentially. And we developed a project with the University of Utrecht to plant those 10,000 trees and develop a reforestation experiment. So that's one example of how CNAC kind of got indirectly involved in one of our largest reforestation projects.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you. So protecting rainforest also has to do with biodiversity and sometimes restoring biodiversity. In what way do the indigenous communities are they involved in that, and do they share their knowledge on how do we deal with all the species in such a beautiful rainforest?
Yeah, no, that's a wonderful question. And the way that we are approaching it is actually through our Arboretum project. So we are developing an arboretum, which we are hoping in due time may very well become the most biodiverse arboretum in all of Central America. And so in order to do this, we are hoping to keep within the arboretum all of the different tree samples of trees that can be found in the tropical lowlands specifically. They have to be native trees to the area. And the best way for us to get those trees is by working in partnership and collaboration with the indigenous communities who have a historical knowledge of what kinds of trees are present in the area and know how to find them for us. So something that we are working on is sending out expeditions into parts of the indigenous reserve, getting permission as well from CNAC to go into the national park and retrieve all of these different tree species in order to have them all labeled and collected within the Arboretum project.
As an addition, I think you can see CNAC a little bit as the Staatsbosbeheer in the Netherlands, just to give a little bit of extra context.
I always
Okay.
have questions. So I can
Very
give you
good.
some more, Nico.
Yeah,
Because
no, please.
yeah. Because so you mentioned the Dia del Árbol, or the tree day, and San Miguel. Because well, I was one of the lucky people that got to visit the project, but how is Work with Nature or Adopt Rainforest connected to San Miguel? What's the distance, and how is that? Why is it important to involve people from San Miguel with the project?
Yeah, so we are embedded within the community of San Miguel. So not just physically, the farm and where we have the biological station is located in the San Miguel community. But we're also embedded in terms of our day-to-day interactions. So, whether it's our neighbors, whether it's helping people whenever they have a situation where there's a snake in a house, they'll give us a call, they'll let us know, and we'll go and we'll help them, safely get rid of whatever animal. Whether it's things like participating in some of the community groups. So for example, Martin, he's part of the sporting committee. I recently have been participating in the community development committee. So we do our best to not just be there with like in San Miguel, but we try to really participate as much as possible within the local dynamics of the community. We also try to attend, all of the town halls to stay informed on what's happening in the community. We have a lot of friends as well a lot of friendships that we have within the community, and fundamentally, we try our best to keep, very good relationships with everyone, especially when we are considering one of our main missions, which is to continue expanding this corridor and to continue expanding the reserve. So, we maintain good relationships with people so that in the eventual case where they would be willing to sell land, they will come to us and that we can, help in purchasing those lands to then continue reforesting and providing those ecosystem services.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if that answers your question, or if
Yeah,
you'd
yeah,
like
for sure. Thank you. So by saying that, it almost feels like they are not as connected to the land and to the forest as, for instance, the indigenous peoples are.
That is, I would say it depends. The truth be told, it's very easy to fall with to kind of I don't know what the best way to say it. I'm just going to say it how it comes to mind. And again, just take it for face value. Um, I have found that it's very easy to fetishize indigenous cultures and to kind of assume that indigenous people have a more have a lifestyle that's more connected to nature. I would generally agree, but I also think that a lot of the same things that drive and that motivate the indigenous communities are the same from any other community in terms of, economics.
Mhm.
So a lot of indigenous communities, they are in great financial needs. They are, kind of marginalized and excluded from a lot of economic opportunities. And so the one thing that they have available are the resources within their forests. So a lot of situations of deforestation, illegal hunting come from indigenous communities as well. So you kind of see both sides where you have people from the indigenous community who actively work with us to help protect and who strongly believe in, just you know, using the what nature provides without over exploiting, but you do see kind of the negative side on the other side as well. And I would say the same thing for the community of San Miguel. We've seen people start to now organically pick up trash and participate a little bit in our community cleanups. Um, but we still see people, throwing trash in the streets and, continuing, some negative behaviors. We see people who will take pictures of animals, who are hurt or injured and share them with us, asking for help, or taking pictures of animals stuck in the house that they need help removing. And then you have people whose solution is to grab the machete and get rid of the animal entirely. So, we see a little bit of everything. And I think that even within these smaller communities, right? San Miguel is only about 500 families, if that. Um, we see that dichotomy, we see that split between, those who are actively contributing to maybe more sustainable practices and to protecting their environment and who care, and those who just see it as a nuisance and just kind of want to get rid of it at all costs. So one of our objectives through these activities is definitely to see a trend in a change in behavior of more people wanting to take care of and wanting to protect the community. We're never going to be able to completely eradicate it, get everyone on board. But I think as long as we have more people on board, I feel like that's already a great impact.
Yeah. And therefore, all the activities that you are putting out there, like the environmental bingo, helps with making that connection, creating community in saving rainforest.
Exactly. Yeah, that's our objective.
Thank
Do
you.
you have any feel, Nico, where we are in terms of, okay, Texas, San Miguel, 500 people or so. Are we 80% supporters, 20% that still want to chop down the trees? Is it 60-40? Is it 20% supporters? Any feel for where we are and how that has improved in the last 3 years or so?
Yeah. So I myself have only been here for 9 months. So my field of vision is quite narrow in terms of like seeing how things have changed over time. If I think that's something that we've done recently with one of the students is we went through the town and we did a small level survey in order to get a sense of the interest of people in participating in some different events and things that we organize. We organized the survey in such a way to ask people, first of all, if they knew about us and what we did. Ask them, what their level of engagement is at the community level, how they get their information. and then asking them a little bit about what they know in terms of the environment and nature conservation, and if it's something that they want to learn more about. And through this survey, I think we reached maybe 60 households, something like that. A lot of the households all seem to say that they don't know a lot about the environment. They know that we exist. They don't have a lot of information or knowledge of what exactly it is that we do. But I would say over 80% expressed an interest in wanting to learn more. Again, I think that this is something to take for face value. In a survey, people are often going to say what you want to hear, especially here in Costa Rica, where our culture is a little bit less maybe direct than the Dutch culture. So, here you ask a Costa Rican, what they think about XYZ, they'll typically answer positively, just to reflect what it is the person saying it wants to hear. So until it translates into action, for me, the greatest action was attendance. Attendance to me is a great indicator. So for the bingo, we kind of it being our very first time organizing such an activity, we had no idea what to expect. And in the end, we had over 60 attendees. So we had a great turnout for what was our very first, engagement of the adults and families in the community outside of Dia del Árbol. So to me, that speaks highly of, how engaged and motivated people are. So to come back to your original question, sorry, I talk a lot, but I promise I keep in mind what your original intention was. If I had to guess, I definitely think there's still a lot of work to be done. I think that there are definitely there's more people that are indifferent to nature than there are people who are actively trying to, help protect and provide and preserve the environment. So it's a bit of an uphill battle, but it's something that I think that we can definitely work to improve on. Yeah, I couldn't really give you an exact number, but I definitely think it skews more in the direction of indifference.
Hi guys, I have a question as well. Maybe I can introduce myself very quickly. I am just a contributor of the foundation. I got in touch with you guys, I think it was 2019, almost 6 or 7 years ago, when I flew to Costa Rica for a holiday. And I just wanted a way to offset my carbon footprint. And this is how I found you guys, years ago. And since then, I've contributed a couple of times. And I just wanted to say, I think it's great work what you are doing. It's so nice to see all those different pillars of the organization, and it's working absolutely great, I think. My question is, because I'm not as involved, I'm not part of the board or something, I'm just, sometimes I contribute a little money, that's all I do. But what were the biggest advancements, let's say, in the last 5 years?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I will do my best to answer. Again, just taking into consideration the fact that I'm quite new to the foundation. I can give more detail on advancements I have personally seen, but I can also speak to some of the others. The first one, just in terms of the overall size of the reserve, we have managed to secure some very significant land purchases in the last 5 years. And this is something that I think is one of the biggest, most important things that our foundation does, is to continue to expand the area that we protect. Again, because of everything that implies. It involves.
Sorry, this is always farmland?
Yes. I wouldn't say always. Some of it is farmland, some of it is cattle. So there are various land uses that we purchase. Some have been palm oil plantations. There's been some teak wood plantations that we've purchased, but a lot of it is cattle as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
So buying lands, I think, is something that's very significant because that in turn allows us to continue expanding the area that we protect, the amount of biodiversity that we protect, the amount of area that we can reforest, and the amount of jobs and opportunities that we can create for the local community. All of those kind of packaged into each land purchase that we make. So I think that that's one of the big things. I think another thing also that that we've been able to really expand on and that we have seen noticeable progress is when it comes to the great green macaws. So just to give some background, the great green macaws are a critically endangered species on the IUCN list. According to the last report, it is reported that there are anywhere between 1,000 to 5,000 living individuals in the entire world. So there are very few of them left. When about 5 years ago, we would see maybe 2 to 3 couples, so 6 birds maximum. And with all of the enrichment planting that we've done, we've planted a lot of beach almond trees as well as mountain almond trees, which are their food of choice. We have now seen, as of last year, the numbers rise to over 250 birds now coming to the area. So we are seeing a very significant increase in the presence of the great green macaws in the area. And so this increase has also led us to continue to pursue new initiatives for the conservation of the birds. So we've worked with some local organizations to develop macaw nests to provide better habitat options for them as well. And this has directly led to seeing them all year round. As a matter of fact, literally as we were having this meeting, I heard 3 couples fly over. And right now we are at the end of May. So this is very, very early for them to be here. They typically come as in October. So these are all signs that show that, everything that we are doing is directly contributing to helping protect and preserve the great green macaws. So I would highlight that as one of the successes over the last 5 years as well.
Yeah, I can add a little to that. I've been involved a little bit longer, only I'm not in Costa Rica, so I cannot hear the macaws flying over. But as I see it over the last 5 years, the first couple of big pieces of land, they were rainforests already. Now you see, because we are expanding little by little, and there's more land that is not rainforest anymore, or has been a long time ago. So that's on rainforest or cattle or planted trees. And Nico, you told about the macaws. There's many animal species that we see coming back now over the years. So we are a buffer zone now since last year for the National Park Babia. So that means we have a land bridge between the national park and our own reserve. So that also means that really quite expands the area for many different animals. So we saw for example, the howler monkey, the brillaap coming back to the area. I think that was 4 or 5 years ago. The first one came in, and now there's a whole family. We saw the puma, macaws, as Nico said, and different frog species are coming back now. And that is, I think, if you look in the past 5 years, so many things have happened, and so many hectares we could add to the reserve that we also had to professionalize the whole organization. So if you buy a piece of land of let's say 20 hectares, it's not easy to take care of, or it's not easy to secure. You have to have rangers to make sure that someone watches over it every other week. If you want to explore the lands and see what type of rainforest there is, I mean, there's many different types, many different histories. You have to have guides to get through the rainforest. We have to document the research. And with an expanding land, you also need a car that needs maintenance. It's these simple things that are in Costa Rica. They're quite less simple than they are in the Netherlands. For example, a car and keeping it clean and well maintained. So that's, I would say, especially the last two or 3 years, we have really been working on, just securing what we have now.
It's great to hear.
Maybe
great
to
work.
add to that, a little bit more flavor, even. I think a couple of more things to probably mention. I think one big milestone in the last couple of years was the partnership with the University of Utrecht in terms of actually doing research in the reserve and projects around that. So I think that was an important one, really, for the research pillar. I think what Herman mentioned as well in terms of further professionalizing the setup. I think we've seen that both here in the Netherlands, where I think 5 years ago we were all volunteers. Today we have a couple of people employed here in the Netherlands that basically ensures a more professional setup and a more longer term sustainable setup to really make sure we can continue to protect and keep it all going. The same holds true for the Costa Rica side, where we've expanded as well the number of people that we are employing, and hence also the sustainability of the setup. I think if you look at the facilities in Costa Rica, and some of you need to help me with the translation, but we launched an herbarium not so long ago, which I think was a big step again to have further professionalize the research side of things. The research facilities themselves, we put down a uitkijktoren, a high tower, to oversee the reserve, which I think is great. Not unimportantly, I think we made some improvements on the safety side as well, to keep the people safe. I think on the tree planting side, the reforestation, I think 2 years ago we did like 25,000. Last year we did like 10,000 trees. So also there you see bigger impact, bigger volumes than we did, let's say, 5 years ago. So a lot of things happened in the last 5 years, just becoming more sustainable as well in terms of the longer term setup, which I think is really important, because we can't just protect it for a couple of years. We need to be able to protect it for the next 50, 100, 200 years. And hence you need an organization that can really is set for a purpose basically, and is sustainable. Sorry, let me stop there, but just wanted to add some more color.
Thank you so much. Great to hear. I'd love to contribute more in the near future.
So we have vacancies always in terms of volunteers. So
all right.
If you're interested, we're always happy to chat. I don't want to put you on the spot, but we actually launched a treasurer vacancy just this week. So there's always room for people that are enthusiastic, be it on the marketing side, social media, treasury, other areas. Always happy to chat on that side as well.
Cool. I'll send you a direct question then. Maybe we can get in touch.
Yeah, sounds good.
Thank you.
Well, that sounds good. Jeroen Bos is our chair board member, just for the context. Nico, you wanted to add something.
No, I think again, thank you so much, Jeroen, for providing all of that insight as well, and for filling in a little bit where I don't have quite as much historical knowledge. I also just wanted to highlight again the herbarium project that you mentioned, because that's also been a point for us to be able to collaborate with the University of Costa Rica, where the entire tropical lowland area of Costa Rica is quite frankly an area that has been explored very little, and that there hasn't been as much research done in this whole area. And so through our herbarium project, we're actually able to contribute to a lot of national databases. And so we're constantly sending samples to the University of Costa Rica, who are directly partnering with us to help us in understanding what kind of plant species we have. So it also goes to show that, these initiatives and these things, we're starting to grow. And one thing I wanted to also add is with people such as Herman working in the Netherlands, here in Costa Rica as well, we are starting to develop a little bit of a reputation, a little bit of our name for ourselves. People are now starting to know and recognize who we are and what we do, not just in the Netherlands, not just in Costa Rica, but across, a greater area. We are having people now reach out to us without without having a common point of contact, who are curious about what we're doing and wants to partner with us. And so it's really nice to see that, the work that we are doing isn't going unnoticed, and that it's drawing some attention as well, which, will help us as well with getting more done.
All right. Are there any more questions for Nico? But it can also be for Jeroen, for example, or for me from the Dutch side.
Or even Irma.
Irma also
One more.
attending.
One more question. Is it still possible to visit the reserve as a normal guy?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And this
Cool.
goes for all of you in attendance, that, you can sit there and you can hear me talk, and, I can tell you how wonderful everything is. I promise you, it's completely different when you get to come and see it for yourselves in person. I cannot recommend it enough. I think that, when you get to really see and live what it is that this foundation does, I really, I've made it, something, it's become my passion, it's something that waking up every day and getting to, see just the beautiful greenery around us, getting to, drive up and get all muddy and dirty, get my hands dirty twice per week, planting trees and, going out into the reserve. It's something that I've come to really enjoy, and I wish everyone to have the opportunity to get to experience that as well at some point. So that goes to say, I also want this to be a general invite, for all of you. We have facilities to host people, and as long as you give us a good enough advance notice, we can absolutely accommodate for you all to visit.
Yep. Maybe I can add something to that, Nico. I will come to the project in the whole month of August. Maybe I can give a short introduction, because I do not know the foundation that long. I heard a nice presentation of Martin in the Netherlands when you did this presentation at the Burger Zoo, one of the zoos in the Netherlands, and I work there as an educational volunteer. So just like you, I think education is very important. You said that only a part of the community was really aware of the richness of the forest, but I think that's only temporary if you can make the children enthusiastic to the nature, more aware. So my question is just to get an idea, how many times do you visit the schools, and what are the projects? Because for the Burgers Zoo where I work, there are many projects for children. There are YouTube movies. They have direct presentations that they can use at school when they have to give a presentation there. There's a musical, endless, I think, but just to get an idea, what is the foundation doing there at schools?
Yeah, so that's definitely an area of improvement for us. You know, the Dia del Árbol, as I mentioned, is an annual event, right? So we only have it once per year. And not only that, but we only have it with the school of San Miguel. There are other schools in the region as well. So there's a school in the indigenous community, and then there's a school in the Colonia Puriscaleña. There are a couple other areas that I believe we could expand this activity to include more students and to include more schools as a part of it.
Yeah.
And not just that, but also one thing that we had proposed in one of our proposals at one point was to not just have a tree day, but to also have a macaw day, where towards the end of the year, when the macaws are here, to go out and take the kids and take the schools to participate in a macaw count, and provide them with binoculars, provide them with snacks and with things, and teach them how to identify birds by both the sound and also spotting them. So we have a lot of plans and a lot of things that we would love to do more of. Right now, our main roadblock is just one of funding, simply because organizing these activities takes both a lot of time and a lot of resources. So, we are doing our best right now to, apply to a lot of different diverse proposals and to expand, our horizons and to find creative solutions to get financing for these projects. And again, we have the 4 pillars. So we're also trying to find what the right balance is in terms of funding all of our 4 different areas. So making sure that we keep enough for conservation practices as well as land purchase, and just keep equipment and material expenses for the foundation as well. So long story short is, yes, it is something that we want to expand on, considering how successful it is and considering what the implications are for the future. And so we already have designed a couple activities. We're just waiting for a little bit of additional funding to make these happen.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I can imagine organizing a musical will take a lot of effort, and will be very expensive. But for instance, we had a bird weekend, just like you said, for the trees. We have a bird weekend, and then at the zoo we are going to look for birds, but not birds in the cages, but just birds living within the property of the zoo. So and try to recognize. Indeed, we give them binoculars, and the children are very enthusiastic to hear or to recognize birds. So that's only a start, and I think that won't be that expensive then as for instance a musical or whatever. But yeah, also providing material. I don't know, maybe for the older children that you have to give a presentation at school. I know we have some PowerPoint presentations they can use already. They can use slides from it if in case they have to give a presentation. So you can a little bit guide them to what subjects they will choose for a presentation. I don't know how that works in Costa Rica for the education, but that's something that you have to do here at school. at certain levels. Yeah, nice. Thank you. Yeah, and I'm looking forward to come and to see the project in August.
You
And
will
that's, I
be
think,
amazed.
Yeah, I
As
was there 3 times for holiday. I see several parts of Costa Rica, but I really want to not only just give some financial support, but also to find out in what way I can help. My background is also research, but more in the cancer research, in the molecular biology, instead of the biology of the trees and the butterflies. But maybe I can help that time, and maybe in future I can go longer or more. We will see.
Really nice, really nice. Irma sent her email address in the chat. If you want to share the materials, that would be really nice. As an addition to this on education, we do have an educational program in the Netherlands.
Mhm.
So in the Netherlands,
Yeah.
we do go to schools, primary schools, and do free workshops where we focus on knowledge from the rainforest and nature as a whole, and why it's so important to protect. It's really fun, and yeah, maybe it's something to expand to Costa Rica as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I discussed it with Matthijs. Also, maybe something for me because I always participate already a bit in the educational for volunteer. But yeah, if I hear Nico well, yeah, we really want to have more participation of the people in Costa Rica also, and I still see a lot of achievements indeed in research and in all kinds of nice things. As I said, I'm myself a researcher, but I can imagine that you want to maybe to expand more in the community there. To if you reach some awareness there, that's also of course a very big achievement, the biggest I think.
Yeah, so one of the reasons why for this first Q&A session, I am giving it is because of the fact that we're talking about local impact. My background prior to joining the foundation, I am actually coming from more of the humanitarian sector myself. So prior to joining, I studied at the United Nations University for Peace, where I got my master's in peace and development studies with a specialization in like environmental things. And before that, I used to work with the U.S. Agency of International Development. So a lot of what I did focused on development, on international development. So I come with a little bit of that perspective, and one of the things that I've been trying to bring more of here is that intersectional approach of seeing how we can do conservation and research whilst also bridging it with the local communities. So that's one of the things that I'm motivated by. It's my own kind of personal background, but well, yeah, I'm hoping that it leads to more development in this field, right? So we have more projects in the pipeline that address the community. So
I think that's also the fun part and the frustrating part. I think there's so many enthusiastic ideas we have to make more impact. And at the same time, there's a limited amount of resources and just man hours in a day of all the volunteers to do it. Just to give some more color, we're now also in basically live discussions to buy another piece of land and save it from being completely chopped down. So also an important one. So you see a lot of different things at the same time that are all important and a lot of fun to do. But that's always the challenge for us as well to get that all done at the same time and in good order.
Yeah. So Nico, put it in the chat. We have a beautiful video made by Maarten of the last Dia del Arbol. I can't share it here now, but please just watch the newsletter because it will be launched. I think it's somewhere next week already. So you can have a great view on how 3 days actually of Dia del Arbol looks like. I see a couple of people are leaving because we are over an hour. So I'll be putting the last slide in. Of course, well, we discussed it already. For all these pillars to work, if it's local impact, reforestation, protection, or research, we always need finances to do this and to keep it going, to keep it sustainable for the next 10, 20, 30, 100 years, or even longer. So just to add something to the end, why you should support Adopt Rainforest, and I think most of you do already, so we are really thankful for that. It's a direct impact on the local community. As you just heard, a little bit more finances could mean that we can add another school to Dia del Arbol, for example. So it's a great way to get the local community involved. Direct impact on nature preservation. So buying a piece of land, as Jeroen just said, we are in process now for another piece of land that is actually going to be cut down. So it is quite hard to it costs a lot of time and energy to get these conversations going about whether or not we can buy a piece of land, especially when the owner wants to cut it down for economic reasons. So yeah, that's a lot of effort from the team in Costa Rica, working directly in the rainforests. As you just heard from Nico, the macaws flying over. So the people are actually in the rainforest and they know how to protect it. And that's for us, especially looking at it from the Netherlands, it's for me, especially for me personally, it is quite geruststellend. I'm looking for the English words. It's calming.
Comforting.
It's comforting. Thank you. To know that they are there, that the rangers are there, that the guides are there, and they know what's going on. It's meaningful research, knowledge sharing. So it's actually the research we are doing. We do also share with other NGOs, other organizations that want to protect rainforests worldwide, but also want to expand rainforests, want to get the best way of reforestation to get biodiversity on a higher level. So it reaches out further than only Costa Rica. And of course, as I just told you, the educational program in the Netherlands, it's more focused from my side and some other volunteers here in the Netherlands to expand this educational program to let the Dutch people and especially the children and their parents know how important it is to save the Earth's lungs. I mean, we have to breathe. So just as a last goodbye, you can always adopt an additional piece of rainforest if you haven't yet, or you can actually give it as a present. So just go to the website adoptrainforest.com, adopteerregelhout.nl, and click on presents, cadeau geven, and you can fill in someone else's name and that one will receive it. Last thing to add, we are always looking for people who want to contribute monthly. So een periodieke donatie. That's really the way for us to continue our work. That's the way of sustainable finances and of course then sustainable nature preservation.